Sorry, guys. Still getting used to this. Okay. Going back. More announcements.
All right. Thank you, Chair Glavis. Just a brief announcement as an update for the Commission on the San Lorenzo Park Benchlands and the progress being made there. So as of today, at the Benchlands, zones 1 through 4 and zone 9 have been closed. There are 9 zones in total, so we're about halfway there. As of today, over 200 tons of refuse have been collected from the encampment. 40 people have accepted shelter up at the Armory as well. So this week, tomorrow, Zone 5A will be closed. There are approximately 20 people in that zone. And then Zone 5B will be noticed for closure next week. So approximately 30 to 32 people in that zone. So just a quick update in terms of the Benchlands. There's some social media that went out over the weekend as well with some photos, an aerial photo of the progress being made with respect to the closure at the San Lorenzo Park Benchlands. So happy to answer any questions the Commission may have at this point.
Like we have 3 commissioners who have questions about this update. Commissioner Greensight, please go right ahead.
Yes, thank you, and thanks to all the staff who are working so hard on this difficult job, Tony. And the only question I had was, you'd mentioned that 40 people from the section that's just been cleaned have accepted positions at the Armory. Could you just share, and then how many people didn't accept a place? In other words, out of how many was 40? And do we know anything about other choices of those people, where people might go? I must say, just driving back from San Francisco yesterday and going along Delaware to go home, the numbers of what do you call them? Called caravans, we call them in Australia, but oversized vehicles seems to have tripled. I go there regularly because so it's not like I've suddenly seen it. So anything, and I know the Coastal Commission said nix the oversized vehicle ordinance, but is there any approach to the impact of some of those folks on the open space and environment in that area?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Commissioner Greensight. So of the zones that have been closed so far in the Benchlands, that has relocated 146 people total. Of that 146, 40 have taken shelter at the Armory. I don't have information offhand specifically as to where the other balance, roughly 100 other people went. We do know that there have been some other encampments that have popped up throughout the park system. Again, whether or not this is directly related to the closure of the Benchlands, hard to say exactly, but we know that we've got an encampment in the Poganup area along Highway 9. On the Poganup side, not so much on the Sycamore Grove side. And then as of this morning, I believe we had 10 tents on 10 or 11 tents out on the beaches, 3 or 4 at Cowles, and 6 to 8 or so over on Main Beach. So this is part of the challenge I think that we're facing across the city as the encampment is closed at the Benchlands with people dispersing. That's not to say that everybody's dispersing. Some people may be finding other shelter, going home, staying with friends, different scenarios. So I don't have that exact data in terms of where everybody has gone, but we do know that we've got some encampments throughout the parks. That's on the radar of the fire department, the police department as well, to make sure that we're not closing down one encampment and then just seeing another large encampment form in another location. So very much on the radar of the operations team, and would welcome our park superintendent Travis Beck to weigh in as well. Travis is serving as the Parks branch chief within the city's incident action planning with respect to the closure of the Benchlands. So would welcome any feedback from Travis as well.
Before Travis starts, if I could just add, if you could address this, Travis, I've noticed the camping on the beach and it seems nothing's done about it. So I know there's opinions on one side that say there's nothing available for people. So if you could just also give us information so I can respond and say, well, actually, there's plenty, or there's 10 or there's 50 spaces available. And if there are spaces available, why isn't something, why aren't there, like the camping on the beach, which I notice, I don't know, not other places, why aren't they being told that they cannot camp there? And I'll stop there. I know I sort of extended my question, but I'd appreciate an answer there.
Sure. Yeah, no problem at all. Good question. So up at the Armory or the city overlook, and sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. There are City Overlook Shelter has a total capacity of 135 beds as of today. Mm-hmm. So there is availability at that location. And so people are being directed to that City Overlook Shelter. This is the Armory up kind of near the golf course at De La Viega. Mm-hmm. There is availability and there is enforcement occurring at these different locations. So the beach and elsewhere. And so what we often see is, I know just from a week or two ago, there were encampments at Main Beach that were cleared. And I think that the encampments that are now there, my understanding is that those may be new or maybe, increasing. It may be people who have left and then come back. So it's a constant sort of changing environment in terms of where folks are. But we do know we've been working closely with the police department. Again, it's a difficult challenge, but we know that they are enforcing. So whether there's encampments again and pop-up encampments in places like Harvey West or in on the beaches, we do know that the police department is addressing those, and there is available shelter currently at the City Overlook.
Thank you.
So those numbers don't match up, though. That is, if we got 142 people looking and we got 130 beds, I guess my concern is the whole whack-a-mole effect. Basically, the people are there. People need a place to sleep. You move them from this place, they're going to show up at another place unless you have completely enough support, for shelters for space for them. So how long has a sort of whack-a-mole been going on? It seems like a long time. In other words, we clean up one and they're going to show up in another place. Mostly I'm just concerned that seems like a futile game or a harsh exercise. And I don't know if there's any way around it, but seems like it's been sort of dumped on us in a way to deal with this homeless stuff. But I don't know if I need an answer. I guess I was just chatting.
Yeah, Commissioner Pollack, I think you touched on the biggest question that the city is facing, and it's available shelter, and it's how do we resolve this this crisis that we're facing in terms of homelessness. So a lot of discussion that we could have certainly on that topic, but right now the direction that we have from City Council is primarily focused toward San Lorenzo Park and the Benchlands and getting that encampment closed and then the park restored. And the good news, I think, once that park is cleared and then we begin the restoration, there will be kind of at least a two-phase sort of restoration. So there will be the immediate work that happens there. And then we have, through the Parks and Rec Department, a San Lorenzo Park redesign process that has been funded. And so we'll go through that process with the community to really re-envision really just kind of assess what is the future of San Lorenzo Park, what is the future of the Benchlands. And so that's our main focus right now, is directed by council, that closure, immediate restoration, then long-term visioning with the community around the future of that park.
Okay, fair enough. Do other people have things to say? I'm not
Yeah,
hearing
I
anybody.
do.
Commissioner Mio, please go right ahead.
I just wanted to find out if there were preparations that the Park and Rec maintenance crew gets extra help as these other camps are starting to pop up, because they're first in line of having to deal with it. And I just want to be sure that the extra help that had been available at the Benchland gets extended further out than that. Then I just also wanted to make a quick comment on, in regards to campers that have gone to the Overlook. And the ones that I know, because I'm down at the Benchlands a lot, the improvement in their lives is striking. My best members who have gone up to the Overlook have shown such a change in attitude, approach, etc. And so, and some of the campers, bottom line, do not want to go and be located in the Overlooks. So that's another issue. But overall, the way the city has been, closing down the camps has been really, really well done. And I kind of know about it firsthand. So I just wanted to share that. And if you could just address the enforcement for afterwards, the campments popping up, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Mio. Appreciate those comments. Appreciate all of your work at the Benchlands as well. It's a huge impact. So right now we've got a really collaborative effort at the Benchlands with Public Works, with the police department, with the fire department, the city manager's office, homelessness response, the county, the sheriff's office, and a number of stakeholders, not to mention the best down there as well. We've got a lot of people involved, which is good. And that model, we are very grateful for, and hopefully we can replicate that in other locations. So if there are other encampment closures in the future, hopefully a model we can replicate there. But definitely, as we talk about Poganup in particular, or other areas where we're seeing encampments grow currently. Again, it's sort of a multi-department effort with police, fire, and then Public Works from a refuse collection standpoint. But that model has changed in the last, I'd say, 9 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
With respect to the homelessness response team. Having more people involved. We even have our city safety officer involved in the encampment cleanups at the Benchland. So more eyes on it, more people involved, and not just relying exclusively on Parks and Rec staff to carry the load. So appreciative for that, and hopefully a model that we'll continue to replicate moving forward.
It would be really, really great. I so encourage it. Whatever I can do, I'll do to encourage that.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Locatelli, go right ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering if Tony or staff or somebody could just make an announcement right now for the public. If we do see camps popping up, where do we report that so we don't get to a place where we're cleaning up all this refuse? Do you want to make an announcement, maybe just public, so that we all know what our duty as citizens, if we see that happening, what the best way to handle it?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that question. And again, would welcome Travis to chime in here. But the first thing I would say for the commission and public is any situation where there's an emergency, call 911. Let's just be really clear about that. I think if there is a situation that needs a response from the police department or fire department that is a non-emergency situation, to call the non-emergency dispatch number, which, I'll see if our clerk has that number offhand.
Yes, it's 471-1131.
471-1131 is that non-emergency dispatch number. And then for
Yeah.
abandoned encampments, for trash, any reporting on, especially, abandoned encampments, trash, any kind of pop-up camps, the city's CRISP portal is also, so that's the citizen response portal on the city's website to file information, complaints, questions through that portal as well. And Travis, anything else to add to that?
How do you get
That's
there?
perfect. It can be found on the city's webpage if you look at how do I report an encampment.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Commissioner Locatelli.
At this point, we are done with announcements. And that brings